All right, so when we look at a plot of residuals, remember it should look something like that. One thing you want to see is, it's going to sound strange, but you do not want to see a pattern. You don't want to see a curve or anything like that, because if you do, then the explanatory and response variables, may not be linearly related. In other words, if the residual plot has a discernible pattern, that implies that linear regression was not appropriate for this data set, irregardless, or regardless, whichever, of the strength of R or R squared. So it doesn't matter if you've got like 0.99 for your R. If you see a residual plot that has a curve, that's bad. All right, so the data in this table were collected by placing a temperature in a portable heater. Then you remove the probe, temperature probe, and the heater, and you turn the heater on. And then you take it away and you record the temperature falling over time in seconds. So determine whether this relationship of the probe and the time is linear. So if you look over here on the left, these are the points. I mean, look how linear they seem. And we've got an R squared, look at this, of 0.9933. Now, what about the residual plot? Well, let me show you how to make that for starters. I'm going to go to Excel, and actually I'm going to type in this data. Oops, not on this one. Hold on. Oops, and I never type here. Hold on, I'm going to do free lunch number 2 here, because we used it twice for 2 different things. This looks good. I'll put it in here. Okay, so let me make it small, and by the way, this is something you can do while you're on tests, is you can have Excel open. If you're in the online class, you can have Excel open while you're taking a test, and then you can make it so that it's small so you can see the screen. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll make it so that Excel is over here, and then like the place where I'm taking the test is over here on the right or something. That way I've got them both up. Another option is to have a second monitor. If you have one of those, you can hook it up. Anyway, degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. So then you can see what you're doing. Oops, 163.2. And as you go, you can type without having to go back and forth and clicking. Oopsie, I just typed that wrong. Okay, so there's that. Now remember, when we make our graphs, let me go here. When you go to data analysis, regression, you don't need to highlight the data I just did. So there's my Y variables. Remember, Y goes first. Excel is funky that way. There's actually a good reason for it programming wise, but I don't want to get into it. And then labels, always check that if your top row has got labels like mine does. Output range, I'm going to click in this little frame right here. I'm going to go click on a cell, like I'll make it start at E1. And then right here, see that? Residuals, residual plots. You can click on residual plot to get that. Isn't that nice? We don't really need to worry about the residuals. I mean, if you want, you can click them on, but it doesn't really make any difference. All right, and then say OK. And there it is. And then look, it made the residual plot for me right here. And then I can drag it along, make it bigger, make it smaller, whatever I want to do. And remember, there's my R squared, just like I said it would be, right? And there's my R. Fabulous. Okay, so here's the residual plot, and then I just copied and pasted it in. What about StatCrunch? Let me get to StatCrunch here. All right, I'm going to have to put those variables in. Let me copy. Control C is a beautiful thing. I'm going to go over here and paste. Okay, then you go to Stat, Regression, Simple Linear. It's going to say, what's your X variable? So it's time. What's your Y variable? Temperature. Next. Skip that stuff. That's actually chapter 14 stuff. You could save the residuals if you want to see them, you know, but that's not really what we're interested in. What we want is that plot right there, residual index plot. You could actually do a histogram of the residuals, a QQ plot of the residuals. There's lots of options, but we're going to do this one. Actually, no, we're not. I think it's this one. Let me click that one. Actually, I'll click both of them. I'll see which one's the right one. All right, calculate. Next. There it is. Okay, so oops, I made that too big probably. So you can see there it is. That's against the X values, and then there's the 0 line. It drew a line connecting the dots, but that's okay. I mean, it gets us the general idea, right? So this is the one we wanted actually. It was that first one that we selected, not the one that versus the X values, the indexed one. Right, and you can copy and paste that into anything.